After 3 days of driving from Mississippi and 2 on the trail, the crew was beat. We decided to take a day and a half to explore Moab. It was a much needed break from the trail and really gave us the energy to spend the next few days back in the Jeep. Now that everyone is rested and ready to get back to riding, we are excited to hit top of the world. It was a pretty long drive from town to get to the trail, but the reward is well worth the travel time and rough washboard roads that you must endure. What's up, bud? A little rough out here?
This road's beating us up good. We're going down a little bit further.
The trail up to the lookout wasn't too difficult and offered a few climbs along the way. The other half of our crew was a little ahead of us and had already made it to the top. After a few days of the group splitting up, it was great to reunite with everyone in one of the most iconic spots in Moab, top of the world. The view from here was insane. It's basically as far as the eye can see in every direction. The view of Fisher Valley, Onion Creek, and the LaSalle Mountains is one that you will never forget. When you come to Moab, this trail is a must-do. Driving to the edge of this huge cliff is an unbelievable feeling. As we have done almost daily on this trip, we checked another item off the bucket list. We stayed as long as we could, but if we were going to make it off the trail before dark, it was time to head back. We went down on the other side of the loop that we came up on. These ledges were a lot of fun, and it made me wish we had gone up this side on the way to the top. This was a more technical trail, but we made it through pretty easily.
What's going on? We had a big one today. We did some whitewater rafting this morning. It was pretty sick. It was actually pretty mellow. But then we just got finished with Top of the World, which was awesome. The entry into it's a little bumpy, but the trail's great. And then once you get to the top, you guys will see the views, and it is just incredible. So we're gonna go grab some food, maybe have a beer, and catch up some more trails tomorrow. But see ya.
Not the trail ball.
Did y'all be
Stop
here
at that stop sign.
less nails tomorrow?
Dude, we're ready. It's 4:55 in the morning. We got in from the trails about 10:30 last night. We're trying our best to be wide awake right now, and we have to be because we're excited because we're about to go hot air balloon riding. And I'm glad we don't have to do anything like drive because, quite frankly, I'm too tired to drive.
They're excited. I'm really nervous. Like, really nervous. But I'm going to see how big the basket is once we get there. And
If the rest of the video is from inside the basket, you'll know that Matt and I just gave up on our fears and just sat down low and watched the world go by.
and if I'm not in the basket, then you know I stayed on the ground and gave Stowe for the camera. All right, well, post hot air balloon ride update, we did not get to do it. It was too windy for them to get the balloon up today. So unfortunately, that wasn't gonna happen. Now we are at Mavericks at the gas station filling up. And I think we're gonna ride Poison Spider today. So pretty excited. It's a short trail. We don't want to spend all day on the trail after riding long days this week. So
And 3 hours of sleep.
yeah, 3 hours of sleep. That's right. We had to get up at 4 a.m. For the hot air balloon, but we're gonna go try to ride a short trail. Hopefully we can be in and out of here. And then the plan I think tonight is to go to the Moab brewery and get some food and beer.
Cold beer.
Poison Spider was another fun trail and even has some dinosaur tracks near the entrance. The trail starts with a few switchbacks that take you up to the first climb. Poison Spider features some good waterfalls, ledges, and climbs. The obstacles are really cool, but not that difficult.
You turn into it a little. Well, now turn back. Yep.
I think you're on it. You're pretty square.
It's going up, but it's pulling What's in front of me?
Rock over there.
Come up a little bit of drop.
It seems like every time we go wheeling, it rains on us. This is the last thing I expected in Moab, but true to tradition, we got a quick rain shower. V-notch is one of the main features of this trail. Straddle the gap and you crawl right through it. This big wall is at the top of the trail and takes you up to the high-speed mesa. This is a cool spot to play with taking different lines. We each went up it differently, but all of us made it with no real trouble. After making it to the top, we headed back down the trail to take it to the house. We are doing a group dinner at Moab Brewery tonight, and we have a solid day of trails tomorrow. It will be our last day to get in some trail riding before we head back to Mississippi. Day 322. we no longer know what's going on.
The natives are getting restless.
Yeah.
The crew is abandoning us. Morale is low. We still have something to eat.
Passengers are getting slim and far.
Yeah. It's Friday. I think it's.
Get 'em good.
It's Friday. It is our last trail day. So it's bittersweet. Everybody's exhausted, so I think everybody's ready to go home. But at the same time, we don't have these trails at the house, so we've just gotta, I guess, make advantage of it while we can. Today we're doing mashed potatoes and pickle.
Yes, sir.
I hear that they're pretty technical, maybe more technical than the stuff that we've done so far.
Make me a peanut butter sandwich.
So
You want one or two?
I'm pretty pumped on that. Kyle is being obnoxious like always, but what he's really doing is fixing his Jeep. He's still having issues with his front locker, so he ordered a new cable because he saw online where people were having issues with gear oil pushing through the plug, and when he inspected his had that, but unfortunately it didn't fix the problem. So now he's trying to reset the computer, I think, to see if that helps. So anyway, we're gonna get some breakfast and get to the gas station so we can meet up with everybody else. It was a long drive down some rough roads to get to the Pickle. However, once we got there, it was one great obstacle after another. This was my favorite trail of the entire trip. The first obstacle on the trail is the Dill Pickle. This spot is a steep, double ledge climb, and Randy walked right up it. Eric is up next to be the first to try it in a two-door. He picks a good line and barely spins a tire. of the 4-door Jeeps made this spot with little effort. My TJ probably had the toughest time here out of all the others. With its shorter wheelbase, it just didn't want to hop up the bottom ledge. As we have to do on occasion, we stacked some rocks and it went right up.
Little bumpy bump.
The Pickle Slicer is a narrow path with rock walls on either side. It has a tippy climb over a large rock at the end, which makes for great photos.
It's gonna set down.
Yeah, you're on the downside of it now. You're not gonna get much flex out of it.
All the time.
Stay that way. Just walk.
Whoa, turn your lockers on.
Four-wheel drive, man.
After the Pickle Slicer, you quickly come to Jalapeno Pickle. It is a double climb with a large step up through a narrow cut in the rocks. This was the most technical spot on the trail and was a lot of fun. That's a big step up for a 35-inch tire. Between Eric's low crawl ratio and the super grippy terrain, climbs like this just happen. Again, the four-door Jeeps made this spot look easy. That extra wheelbase really does seem to help out more often than it hurts.
Good, keep walking.
Don't got car passenger jump in there. Drop.
Full driver. There you go. Little driver. Right there. Little driver more. Little driver. Right there.
With everyone through Jalapeno Pickle, that finishes out the Pickle Trail. This means that we are headed to the last trail of our trip, Mashed Potatoes. The variety of terrain in Moab came as a huge surprise to me. Mashed potatoes could not have been more different than the Pickle. Instead of sand and red rocks, mashed potato looked like wheeling on the moon. These rocks are much lighter in color and created an endless series of climbs and descents as you make your way down the trail. With all of the possible line choices on this trail, it was a great one to end with. Most of the trail is more fun than difficult, but once we got to the optional obstacle called the Gravy Boat, we were anxious to give it a shot. With the hot tubs on Hell's Revenge being a bit more difficult than we wanted to tackle, we found this as a perfect opportunity to hit our first one. Dropping down into the tub is tight. Once the four-door Jeeps were down in there, they could not do much maneuvering. This means that upon entry, they had to set themselves up to take their line up and out.
Yeah, it is.
Randy got into a tippy spot and didn't want to risk it. They put a winch cable on him to keep the front down, and he was able to drive out.
There we go.
Kyle took what seems to have been a slightly better line, and with a bit of a bump, he came up and out pretty easily. Being the first two-door down into the hot tub made me a bit nervous, but I had scoped it out and found a line that I was pretty sure I could make. It took more maneuvering to get into this spot than the four-door Jeeps were able to do, but the smaller TJ was able to make the turn. Yep. There you go. That's it. Come on. Kent had the smoothest run out of everybody that tried the gravy boat. His entry in set him up perfectly for a quick exit out. Stouffer wasn't going to pass up the gravy bowl either. He ended up on a line somewhere between the four-door line and the line that I took in my TJ. Crawling up the wall really lifted the front. It's pretty crazy to be this off balance and continue to drive forward. It's all about being comfortable with your Jeep and knowing its limits. However, as he continued to crawl, something popped and had a sudden roll backwards. It seems that his transmission slipped. So with the uncertainty of that on his mind, he decided to hook up a winch as well. An unexpected shift of weight like that can easily send a Jeep onto its side when you aren't expecting it. Stouffer was out of the gravy boat and it was time to head home. We had to load the Jeeps onto the trailers and get ready for the 1,500-mile trip back to South Mississippi. Our time in Moab was unbelievable. It is a lot of work to get out here, but it was well worth it. If you're considering a trip to Moab, do it. We will definitely be back because there are still a ton of trails that we want to ride out here. Thanks for watching the two-part series of our Utah adventures. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow on Instagram.